Yeah, it brought me up several levels. I mean, Eat It was on my second album in 3D, and
Yeah.
my first album did okay. I was sort of an underground kind of guy. I was a hit on the Dr. Demento radio show, and I had another one, Rides the Bus, and My Bologna, and I Love Rocky Road, things like that. But when Eat It came out, that launched me into a whole different dimension. I mean, before that, you talk about overnight fame, right? Where like,
Right.
and it's a myth, like, oh, nobody gets famous overnight. But I kind of did because like the day that Eat It went into heavy rotation on MTV, literally the next day people were staring at me in the street, which had never happened to me before. I was like, all of a sudden I was the Eat It guy. It was very odd.
One of the kind of neat things that I found was an old interview of you, 1984, on Oprah when she
Oh
did
wow.
AM Chicago, and you were talking about Eat It and everything else, and it was just amazing on some of the things you were talking about because she had asked you about mimicking the Michael Jackson sets and how difficult it was to get that video to where you were literally recreating shots. Do you remember take me back to that day? What do you remember about making the video to that, which was even more daunting?
Yeah, it was my biggest budget video by far at the time, but it was still a fairly low budget video, so we didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of money to throw at things. And the original pool hall we couldn't find, and the original warehouse didn't exist anymore. We had to kind of make it from scratch and make it with like cheap sets. But we gave it our best shot. We had a little video monitor on stage so we could like ABM compare, make sure we are getting it as close as possible. But yeah, it was a fun thing to try to encapsulate the vibe of the original Michael Jackson. This is back in the days when people like were mesmerized by MTV. They knew every frame of every video, so it was very easy to take that and just tweak everything a little bit and make it funny.